And we're back. We're going to talk about the last 3 months of this year, 2021, October, November, and December, the last quarter, and why many people think that this quarter is going to be the phase of the 4-year Bitcoin cycle where it actually peaks at the highest peak of the 4-year cycle. And we're going to show you a picture of that. So, Mike, are you ready for peaking?
I am, and I guess the first question I have, especially as the neophyte, I don't know jack about cryptocurrencies except how to make graphics depicting them.
Yeah,
is what has happened over the course of, let's say, the last couple of years, inside of the last 3 months of the year, that make this one yet another one, and so it's going to be the pinnacle one. Can you share more?
Yeah, it's not. This doesn't happen every year. It's not a yearly cycle with Bitcoin.
Oh. Okay.
It's a 4-year cycle. And the reason it's a 4-year cycle is we probably won't be able to get too deep into it, but there's something called the halving, where the miners, the people who mine the Bitcoin, that create the Bitcoin, every certain number, every so often, which ends up being every 4 years, their reward for mining the Bitcoin gets cut in half. And that sparks less supply in some ways. And again, me and Mike on the show, we're not experts, we're not professionals. I'm just giving my best understanding. Yeah.
Right. And for those that are listening, I don't understand anything of what Chris just said, so hang in there.
Well, right. So here, look, to break it down as simple as possible, it's a 4-year cycle. The last 3 months of that 4-year cycle is, for the past 2 cycles, and I'm going to show you a picture of it in a second, is when the price peaks. Because meaning over the course of the last 8 years before the last 3.5, we get to these 3 months on the end of the 4th and the end of the 8th year, and it's gone up extraordinarily. That's telling me, right? Right. So this is the Bitcoin chart from all time. If you look on the bottom left here, I don't know if you can see my cursor.
Yes.
This is where Bitcoin was less than 1 penny in January of 2010. Mm-hmm. Okay. You see that?
Yes.
And then you see this peak here. This was actually in June of 2013. That was the first peak, the first cycle peak. But then the next one right here is like December of 2013. Okay. So December of 2013, that's when this cycle peaked. Then you had December of 2017, right? Which was exactly 4 years later, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So December 2017 is when Bitcoin hit the 20K, and then it spent the next year and a half coming down, and now we're literally about to enter the last 3 months here, where in the past 2 cycles where it really peaked. So,
it's very interesting. Something that I'd like to share with everyone too is the value of watching something like this is not for everyone. But when you start getting involved and you're able to look at time spans over a long period of time, you're going to find very interesting trends in just about any kind of research that you look back on history in. It's one of the reasons why there are so many people that are interested in history, is because history is very interesting regardless of whatever you're looking at. And so, Chris, can you put that graphic back up for just a second for us?
Oh, yeah. What the heck? Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Tech. It's awesome. Again, looking at this, it doesn't mean anything unless you have someone like Chris that is sharing the details of why you would care at all about what you're looking at. But then also, again, as Chris places his mouse over towards what is coming up here these next 3 months.
Oops.
Yeah, that's okay. It's very interesting. Because where is it going to go? It's the question that drives everybody inside of cryptocurrency. What is going to happen? And in particular, this is just a guess because I have not bought any, I've not invested into any kind of cryptocurrency. But I mean, Chris, isn't that kind of what happens with all of this, is where is it going to go, and the question that drives us?
Yeah. And in terms of Bitcoin, it's a limited supply. It's not like regular money. It's not like the governments of the world now. Well, the U.S. government is printing trillions of dollars, just printing. And what happens? The value of the dollar gets diminished. There's a chart from I think back from even the 1800s that show the value of the dollar has been just coming down. It's anyway. So Bitcoin is different. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to exist ever. And already probably about 4 million have been lost from the very old days. There are people literally, and I'm not joking, there are people who lost thousands and thousands of Bitcoin 10 years ago because maybe their wife or their partner threw out a hard drive with 1,000 Bitcoin on it that's now worth $45 million. And they literally are searching through a dump site year after year to try to find this hard drive because it's worth $45 million.
Yeah,
anyway.
the industry that I just left, which was data destruction, there are legend stories about things like that, and that's one of them. It's a very interesting proposition. It also helps everyone to understand the value and the need for not only understanding where you store things, but how you store things and how valuable that can become.
Right. Yeah, so it's supply and demand, and then again, none of us can predict the price of Bitcoin. Like, is it going to do what it did the last 2 4-year cycles? We don't know. But it might. And some people say, like, if you, for instance, and by the way, nothing we ever say on this show is financial advice. Nothing is financial advice. You have to do your own research.
Well, you see, all of Chris's details and sharing of information is detailed financial advice that you should heed. It's incredibly vital that you pay attention.
Dude, don't throw us off YouTube for that. Be careful.
Oh, so sorry. I was kidding.
Yeah. Well, of course. So anyway, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about that because, look, not saying you have to run out and buy Bitcoin, but some people think if you bought Bitcoin today, in 3 months, it's going to be 3x the price. So if you invest $1,000, it's going to turn it into $3,000. If you invest $10,000, it's going to turn to $30K. But
and one of the things that we can do, especially as we grow the library of the program, is we can revisit that. and I can't wait to not to cackle in your face, but to help people understand the potential value of what we're talking about inside of cryptocurrencies. Because again, this is not something that is a flash in the pan. I can remember vividly back in the mid 90s when people were talking about this thing called the internet. and this really very interesting thing called America Online, and how very interesting all of it was. And I remember meeting people who literally told me when I was trying to sell websites, websites are just a fad. Meh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now look at everything that we do with websites. And it's funny that we're talking about websites because we want all of you guys to go over to our website. Chris, what is that domain name again?
Don't go to our website. Do not go to
Chris's sage financial advice. What is it?
Do not go to twoguystalkingcrypto.com.
My God, that's a brilliant marketing scheme, Chris. Where have you been all of my marketing life?
Yeah, don't go there. It's not worth it. Just, in fact, turn this off right now, please.
For those of you that have decided to stick around, make sure you go check out twoguystalkingcrypto.com. Inside of that, you'll see not only some very detailed, interesting bios of Chris and I, but you'll also find all of the connective tissue to see all of the different platforms that we're featured on inside of the social media account. And my God, there are a ton. So I hope you go check it out over at twoguystalkingcrypto.com. Chris, anything else?
We'd love to hear your questions. If we can help, let us know. We're here to help. We're here to we're just chatting. We'd love to chat with you. So definitely let's keep in touch. And that's it, Mike. Let's go.
Great.
Adios.